progress report says we are at stage 5, paragraph page 395. Okay, and our last headword was habit, a newer type of lesson. Okay, so
Okay,
let's start with revision. Ready?
okay, already.
Okay, here we go. First question. What did you do if this table slowly began to rise into the air without anybody touching it? What did you do if this table slowly began to rise into the air without anybody touching it? If
If
that
this
table
table
slowly
slowly
began to
began
rise into
to
the air
rise into the air
without anybody
without
touching it,
anybody touching
I'd
it,
run
I'd
out of
run
the
into
room,
the room,
etc.
etc.
Very good. Are you wearing a belt? Are you wearing a belt? Yes or no?
No, I'm
I'm
not
not.
wearing a belt.
Very good. Okay. Next. What do the words hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly mean? What do the words daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly mean? The
So
words
what
hourly,
hourly,
daily,
daily, weekly,
weekly,
monthly,
monthly, and
and
yearly means
yearly means every
every
hour,
hour, every
every
day,
day,
every
every
week,
week,
every
every
month,
month, and every
every
year.
year. Very good. Do most radio stations have hourly traffic news? Do most radio stations have hourly traffic news? Yes, most radio
Yes, most
stations
radio
have
stations have
hourly.
our traffic news.
Which daily newspaper do you read? Which daily newspaper do you read? I read.
I read Nihon Keizai newspaper.
Very good. Do you read any weekly newspapers? Do you read any weekly newspapers? Yes or no?
No,
I
I
don't
don't
read
read
any
any weekly
weekly
newspapers.
newspapers. Very good. How many hours of English do you study monthly? How many hours of English do you study monthly? I
I
study
study 80 hours of English monthly.
monthly. Where do you usually go for your yearly holidays? Where do you usually go for your yearly holidays? I usually
I
go to
usually go to another country
for
for my
my
yearly
holidays.
holidays.
Very good. What's the difference between allow and let? What's the difference between allow and let? The
The
difference
difference
between
between
allow
allow and
and let
let
is
is
that
that
allow
allow has
has
the
the
infinitive
infinitive with
with to
to
after it, whereas
whereas let
let
has
has
the
the
infinitive
infinitive
without to.
without to after it.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. The
A
doctor
doctor
allowed
allowed
me
me
to
to
change.
change my appointment.
The
A
doctor let me
doctor let me
change.
change my appointment.
Right, what sometimes happen when we let people borrow things that belong to us? What sometimes happen when we let people borrow things that belong to us? When we
When
let
we let
people
people
borrow
borrow
things that
things
belong to
that
us,
belong to
they
us,
sometimes
they
don't return
sometimes
them.
don't return them.
Do you think it's a good idea to allow children to do as they please? Do you think it's a good idea to allow children to do as they please? No,
No,
I don't
I don't
think
think
it's a good idea
it's a good
to
idea
allow
to allow
children
children
to
to
do
do
as they
as they
please.
please.
Do you think it's dangerous these days to let people we don't know enter our houses? Do you think it's dangerous these days to let people we don't know enter our houses? Yes or no?
Yes, I
I think
think it's
it's
dangerous
dangerous
these
these
days
days to let people
to
we
let
don't
people
know
we don't know
enter
enter
our.
our houses.
Wait, do you think more people would kill each other if the law of the country let them? Do you think more people would kill each other if the law of the country let them? Yes or no?
Yes, I
I think
think more
more people
people
would
would kill
kill
each
each
other
other if the law
if
of
the
the
law of
country
country
let
let
them.
them.
Very good. Which is it right to say, I was let or I was allowed? Which is it right to say, I was let or I was allowed? It's right to say,
It's right
I
to
was
say
allowed.
I was allowed
Why? Why? Because we cannot use let
because we cannot use
in the
let in
passive
the
voice.
passive voice.
Do you think students should be allowed to use their mobile phones during lessons? Do you think students should be allowed to use their mobile phones during lessons? Yes or no?
No,
I
I don't
don't think
think should
students
be
should be.
shouldn't be allowed.
One more.
I don't think students should be allowed to
To
use.
use their mobile phones
No,
during lessons.
their mobile phones during the lessons.
Very good. Okay, one moment. Let me reconnect. Okay. Okay, again. Here we go. No, I
No,
don't
I
think
don't
students
think
should be allowed
students should be
to
allowed
use their
to use
mobile phones
mobile phones
during
during
lessons.
lessons.
Very good. Okay, is there a book anywhere in this room? Is there a book anywhere in this room? Yes,
Yes, there
there's
is a
some
book
books somewhere.
somewhere in this room.
Is there a radio anywhere in this room? Is there a radio anywhere in this room? No,
No,
there
there isn't a
isn't a radio
radio anywhere in
anywhere.
this room.
Is there if there's nowhere to sit on a bus, what do you have to do? If there's nowhere to sit on a bus, what do you have to do? If
If
there's
there's
nowhere
nowhere
to
to
sit
sit
on a
on the
bus, I
bus,
have to.
I have to stand.
Is there anywhere near there I can buy foreign books? Is there anywhere near there I can buy foreign books? Yes, there's somewhere near here. You can
Yes,
buy
is there?
foreign books.
Yes, is there somewhere near here?
You can buy
You
foreign
can
books.
you can buy foreign books.
Okay, one moment again. Okay, there you go. So next, is there anywhere in your town I could get my haircut for nothing? Is there anywhere in your town I could get my haircut for nothing? No,
No,
there's
there isn't anywhere
in
in
my
this
town.
town.
You could
In my
get
town, if you get
one more.
your hair cut,
No, there isn't
no,
anywhere
there
in this
isn't
town
anywhere
you
in this
could get
town.
your
You
haircut
could
for
get your
nothing.
haircut for nothing.
Where in the world can a man murder another man without breaking the law? Where in the world can a man murder another man without breaking the law? There's nowhere
No,
in the world
there is nowhere in the
where
world
a man
where
can
a
murder
man
another
can
man
murder another man
without breaking the
without
law.
breaking the law.
If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live? If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live? If I
If
could
I
live,
could anywhere in the
one more.
world,
If I could live
if I could
anywhere
live
in the world,
anywhere in the
I
world,
live in.
I'd live in Hawaii
Why? Why?
because it's beautiful.
There will be so many Japanese in Hawaii. Okay, next. Do you think it's okay to let dogs run around loose, or do you think they should be kept on a chain? Do you think it's okay to let dogs run around loose, or do you think they should be kept on a chain? Yes or no?
No,
I don't think
I
I
don't
don't think
think
dogs should be allowed
dogs should be
to
allowed
run around
to
loose.
run, to run around
I
loose.
think they should be
I
kept
think
on a
they
chain.
should be kept on the chain.
Why do people in hot countries wear loose clothes? Why do people in hot countries wear loose clothes? People in
People
hot
in hot countries
wear
wear
loose
loose clothes
to keep
to keep
themselves
them
cool. Keep
themselves
themselves
cool.
cool. Very good. Are there any loose stones on the road outside your house? Are there any loose stones on the road outside your house? Yes or no?
Yes, there are some
There's
loose stones
on the road
on the road
outside my
out,
house.
outside my house.
Very good. Why does a man sometimes loosen his tie? Why does a man sometimes loosen his tie? A man
A man
sometimes loosen
sometimes
his
loses
tie
his tie
because
because
it's
it's
more
more
comfortable.
comfortable.
Very good. Okay. What's a storm? What's a storm? A storm
A
is a
storm
short
is a short
period
period
of
of
very.
very bad weather.
What do we sometimes see and hear in a storm? What do we sometimes see and hear in a storm? We sometimes
We
see lightning
sometimes see
and
lightning
hear
and
thunder
hear
in a
thunder in
storm.
the storm.
Very good. How do blind people read? How do blind people read? Blind
Blind
people read
people
with
read
special
with
books
their special
made
book
for them,
made for
which
them,
they can read
which they
by
can
touching the
read by
words.
touching the words.
Very good. Where does the devil live? Where does the devil live? The devil
The
lives
devil
in
lives in
hell.
hell.
Very good. Can you ride a horse? Can you ride a horse? Yes or no?
No, I can't ride a
Ride.
horse.
Do you like riding on buses? Do you like riding on buses? Yes or no?
No, I don't like riding on buses.
What's another way of saying I ride a bike every day? What's another way of saying I ride a bike every day? Another way of saying
Another way of
I
saying
ride a
I
bike
ride
every
a
day
bike every
is
day
I
is
cycle every
I
day.
cycle every day.
Very good. What words do we use when we ask for permission to do something? What words do we use when we ask for permission to do something? We s-
We
we use
use
may, can,
may,
or could
can, or could
when we
when we
ask
ask
for
for
permission to
permission
do
to do
something.
something.
Give me three examples. Give me three examples, please. May I smoke?
May I smoke?
Can I
Could
open the
can I open the door?
window
Could
or window?
a
Very good.
window?
Could I borrow your
Could
pen,
I
please?
borrow your pen, please?
Very good. In what kind of expressions do we use the word catch? In what kind of expressions do we use the word catch? We use
We
the
use
word
the word
catch in
catch in
expressions such
expressions such
as
as
catch a
like
ball,
catch a
ball,
ball,
catch a train,
catch a train,
catch a colt,
catch a ball,
etc.
etc.
Very good. Okay, what am I doing? What am I doing? You're
You are
throwing your
throwing
pen
your pen
into
and
the air,
catching it
into the
in the
air,
air
and catching
and
it.
catching it.
Very good. Are you the kind of person who usually has to run hard at the last moment in order to catch a bus or a train? Are you the kind of person who usually has to run hard at the last moment in order to catch a bus or a train? Yes or no?
No,
I'm not the
I'm not
kind of
kind
person
of the
who
person who
usually has to
usually
run
has to
hard
run hard
at the last
at
moment
the last
in
moment
order to
in
catch a
order
bus
to
or a
catch
train.
bus or train.
If you walk in the rain without carrying an umbrella or wearing a raincoat, what might happen? If you walk in the rain without carrying an umbrella or wearing a raincoat, what might happen? If I
If I
walk
walk
in the
in a
rain
lane
without
without
carrying an
carrying an
umbrella or
umbrella or
wearing a
wearing
raincoat,
raincoat,
I'd get
I
wet
get it
and might catch
and
a
might
cold.
catch a cold.
Very good. Why is it a good idea to wear a cup in hot, sunny weather? Why is it a good idea to wear a cup in hot, sunny weather? It's a good
Yes,
idea
it's a good
to
idea
wear a cup
to wear
in
a
hot,
cap
sunny weather
in hot sunny weather
because it protects
because
your
it
head
protects your
and
head
eyes
and
from the sun.
eyes from the sun.
Very good. What's the most common way to speak about our habits? What's the most common way to speak about our habits? The most
The most
common way
common
to
ways
speak
to
about
speak
our
about
habits
our
is to
habits
use
is
the
to
present
use
simple
the present
or
simple
past simple.
or past simple.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. I play
I
football
play football
every weekend.
every weekend.
I always
I
studied hard
always study hard
before
for
exams at
exams
university.
at university.
Wait, does your father smoke? Does your father smoke? Yes or no?
Yes, my father smokes.
Did you usually go to bed early when you were a small child? Did you usually go to bed early when you were a small child? Yes, I
Yes, I
usually went to
usually
bed
went to bed early
when I
when I
was
was a
a
small
small child.
child.
What's your worst habit? What's your worst habit? My worst
My
habit
worst
is
habit
that
is
I,
that I drink too much.
me too. Are you in the habit of speaking to yourself when you're alone? Are you in the habit of speaking to yourself when you're alone? Yes or no?
No,
I'm
I'm
not
not
in
in
the
the
habit of
habit
speaking to
of
myself
speaking to
when
myself
I'm
when
alone.
I'm alone.
What were you in the habit of doing at the weekend when you were a little child? What were you in the habit of doing at the weekend when you were a little child? I was
I
in
was
the
in the
habit
habit
of
of playing
at the
games
weekend
at the
when I
weekend
was
when
a
I was a
little child
little
or
child.
small child. Very good. Okay, and that's the end of our revision. Let's have
Okay,
keyword.
okay.
Okay, repeat. Stranger,
Stranger,
foreigner.
foreigner.
Very good. Okay, listen. The word stranger and foreigner are both nouns.
Hmm,
A stranger is somebody we don't know, whereas a foreigner is somebody from another country.
huh.
Okay, let's practice. What's the difference between a stranger and a foreigner? What's the difference between a stranger and a foreigner? The difference
The
between
difference
a
between
stranger
stranger and
and
foreigner
is that
is
a
that
stranger is
stranger
somebody
is
we
somebody
don't know,
we do know,
whereas a foreigner
whereas
is
foreigner
somebody
is
from
somebody
another country.
from another country.
Very good. Next will be snowstorm.
Snowstorm.
Very good. Okay, listen. A snowstorm is a noun. It is a storm with strong winds and a lot of snow. Okay.
Huh.
Next, repeat. Look like.
Look like.
Very good. Okay, listen. Look like is a phrasal verb. To look like means to have a face that is similar to someone or something. It also
Huh.
means appear like. Okay, for example, my mother and I have similar face. I look like my mother.
Huh.
We can also say it appears like it's going to rain, or it looks like it's going to rain.
Huh.
Okay, let's practice. What famous person would you most like to look like? What famous person would you most like to look like? I'd most like
I'd most
to look
like
like
to look like
oh,
Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt. Me too. What does he look like? What does he look like?
His look like
He is handsome
he is handsome
and has
and has
a lot of money,
beautiful a lot of money.
a beautiful wife that they divorced already. Okay. Next, do you look more like your mother or your father? Do you look more like your mother or your father? I look
I
more
look
like
like
I
my
look
mother.
more like
I look more like
my mother.
my mother.
Very good. Do you think it looks like rain? Do you think it looks like rain? Yes or no?
No,
I
I
know.
don't think
It
it
looks like.
looks like rain.
Do you think you look like succeeding in learning English quite well? Do you think you look like succeeding in learning English quite well? Yes,
Yes,
I
I
look
think
like succeeding
I look like
in
succeeding
learning English
in
quite
learning
well.
English quite well.
Very good. Next, repeat travel,
Travel,
journey,
journey,
just.
just.
Very good. Okay, listen. The difference between travel and journey is that we generally use travel as a verb and journey as a noun.
Oh,
For example, I traveled a long way, or the journey was long. Just is an adverb. Just means only or nothing more than. For example, it's now easier for people to travel to other countries just for the weekend because traveling is cheaper and faster these days.
oh.
Let's practice. What's the difference between travel and journey? What's the difference between travel and journey? The
The
difference between
difference between
travel
travel
and
and
journey is
journey
that we
is that
generally use travel
generally use
as a
travel
verb
as a
and
verb
journey as a
and
noun.
journey as a noun.
Very good. Why is it now easier for people to travel to other countries just for the weekend? Why is it now easier for people to travel to other countries just for the weekend? It's now
Is it?
easier
It's not easier
for people to travel
for people to
to other
travel
countries
to other
just for the
countries
weekend
just for
because
the weekend
traveling
because
is cheaper
traveling is
and
cheaper
faster these
and
days.
faster these days.
Very good. What's the longest journey you've ever made? What's the longest journey you've ever made? The
The
longest journey
longest
I've ever
journey
made
I've
is
ever
from
made
Japan
is
to.
from Japan to Dubai.
Very good. Next, repeat. Of course.
Of course.
Very good. Okay, listen. Of course is used to show that what is being said is already generally known.
Hmm.
For example, he's American, and so of course he speaks English.
Oh,
Of course is also used informally to give permission or to say yes. For example, could I borrow your pen for a second? Of course you can.
oh.
Okay, let's practice. Give me a sentence with the word of course in it. Give me a sentence with the words of course in it, please. Could I borrow your
Could
pen
I
for a
borrow your
second?
pen
Of
for a
course you
second?
can.
Of course you can.
He's American,
He
and
is
so of
American, and
course
so of
he
course
speaks
he
English.
speaks English.
Very good. Next, repeat. Nowadays.
Nowadays.
Very good. Okay, listen. The word nowadays is an adverb. It means these days. For
Oh,
example, I think people are happier these days than they were in the past. Or
hmm,
I think people are happier nowadays than they were in the past because the
hmm,
world is becoming a better place to live in.
hmm, hmm.
Let's practice. Do you think people are happier nowadays than they were in the past? Do you think people are happier nowadays than they were in the past? Yes or no?
Yes,
I
I
think
think
people are
people are
happier
happier
nowadays than
nowadays
they were in the
than
past.
they were in the past
Why? Why do you think so? Because
because they live in bigger house.
bigger house. Very good. Again, next repeat. Suffer.
Suffer.
Very good. Okay, listen. The word suffer is a verb. To suffer is to experience illness. For
Hmm,
example, I've suffered from some illnesses in the last 2 years.
hmm.
Let's practice. Have you suffered from any illnesses in the last 2 years? Have you suffered from any illnesses in the last 2 years? Yes or no?
No,
I haven't
I
suffered
haven't suffered
from any illnesses
from any
in the
illnesses
last 2 years.
in the last 2 years.
Very good. Next, wish.
Push.
Very good. Okay, the word wish is a noun. For example, my greatest wish in life is to have my own house.
Hmm.
Let's practice. What's your greatest wish in life? What's your greatest wish in life? My greatest
My
wish in
greatest
life
wish in
is.
life is to earn money.
Very good. Okay, next repeat. Exist.
Exist.
With the letter like there's a G. Exist.
Exist.
Very good. Okay, listen. Exist is a verb. For
Hmm,
example, this building has existed for 25 years.
hmm,
This is an old building I'm in at the moment.
hmm.
Okay, let's practice. About how long has your building existed for? About how long has your building existed for? This building
This
has
building
existed
has
for.
existed for 2 years.
Very good. Okay, next repeat. Remind.
Remind.
In other words,
In other words,
member.
member.
Very good. Okay, listen. The difference between the words remember and remind is that we remember something ourselves without help. Whereas if we forget something, somebody reminds us. In other words, they remember for us. For example, if you forget the meaning of a word during the lesson, the teacher reminds you of it. Member is a noun. It means a person, animal, or thing that is a part of a group. For example, you don't remind me of any member of my family. Okay, let's practice. What's the difference between the words remember and remind? What's the difference between the words remember and remind? The difference
The
between
difference
the
between
words
the
remember
word
and
remember
remind
and
is that
remind
we
is
remember
that
something
remember
ourselves
something our
without
helps
help.
without help.
Whereas if we forget
Whereas if
something,
we get something,
somebody reminds us.
somebody remind
In
us.
other words,
In other
they
words,
remember for us.
they remember well for us.
Whereas if you forget the meaning of a word during the lesson, who reminds you of it? If you forget the meaning of a word during the lesson, who reminds you of it? If I
If
forget the
I
meaning
if I forget the meaning
of a word during
of
the
a
lesson,
word during the
the
lesson,
teacher
the
reminds me of
teacher
it.
us
Reminds me of it.
reminds me of it.
Right? If you have an important appointment to keep, which member of your family reminds you to keep it? If you have an important appointment to keep, which member of your family reminds you to keep it? If I have an
If I have
important appointment
an important
to
appointment
keep, my
to keep
who reminds you? Your wife, your son
my wife
reminds me to keep it.
remind me to keep.
Very good. Do I remind you of any member of your family? Do I remind you of any member of your family? Yes or no?
Yes,
You remind
I
me
you remind
of
me
a member of my
of a
family.
member of my family.
Very good. Okay, so now let's move on to reading.
Okay.
Okay, so our reading is at stage 4, paragraph page 305. Last headword was Great Lake. Okay, start with the fourth question. Tell me the
Okay.
names of some great people in history.
Okay. Great. Great. Okay. Okay. Tell me the name of the same great people
Of
in history.
some great people.
Some.
Tell me the name. Okay, that's correct. Tell
Uh,
me the name of some.
tell me the name